Okay, guys, so we are going to open up we are going to dismantle this fork assembly first. So we'll be requiring 8 mm Allen socket, half-inch drive to remove the Allen bolt from the bottom side. Basically, this is bottom, not the top. So this is the bottom, which is holding the inner or the piston, we can say, from internally. So to remove that, we'll be requiring another tool because it has got hexagonal multi-hex shape basically. So for that we'll be using fork T, which is a special tool. This is 36 mm bolt. I'll just show you because we did calculate that. So this is 38 mm, I'm sorry. So 38 mm bolt you will have to take. You don't need multi-hex, but hex will help you out, not an issue. So just make sure that your fork T is longer than the fork because according to that ratio, I meant to say. So we'll just open up the piston. We'll just keep this fork T, and we'll just use one small voice to hold the fork T because it requires a little bit extra torque because most probably it has got a thread lock to avoid the loosening of this Allen bolt. So we'll just fix up the fork T, this special tool, and the voice. I'm really very sorry, guys, for the light because some restoration work is going on in the workshop. So it is a little bit. I know it's quite a black at some point. So let's tight the voice and then put the fork. We just have to put basically this fork on the fork T. You have to make sure that the piston is locking properly because if it is not, that means that that time you won't be able to remove that Allen bolt from the top side. So just make sure that the fork T is locked inside. Just try to rotate and just check it. If it is locked, then it won't rotate. Now we'll remove the this bolt, Allen bolt from the top side. As I said, it requires little extra torque. Your ratchet may not work, so you may need extra leverage for that. So to remove that because of the thread lock only. If it is not removed earlier, factory fitment is basically with thread lock. If it is removed, then I don't think you need to worry about that. So we'll just change the tool. Tommy will help me out better way. So just remove the bolt and do the reciprocating way, turning because that thread lock should get loose. So just keep on rotating this socket counterclockwise, clockwise, so it will become loose. Keep on doing this until you feel it is loose. Same procedure you have to apply for second fork. Older folks were having different procedure because the construction was totally different than this fork. This concept or this kind of a fork removal procedure is almost common in new generation bikes. This is pull type, so that means you have to pull out this seal different way. You don't need any special tool for that. The fork itself is the tool. When you remove the fork basically from the fork T, you will just get one piston outside. This is the piston. As I told you, this has got a hex shape. I'll just show you. So multiple hex shape is there. This is the reverse spring or a retaining spring. If you don't have this kind of a spring inside the fork, that means you will have some knocking sound when you go through the ditch. It may if it is less in thickness, I mean this height, then also you will have this knocking sound. So just check out if the spring is there or not first of all, and if it is there, then check for the length. It has to be according to the company specification. If it is not there, then just replace the spring so your this forks will not make any knocking sound. So we'll just remove the second fork. After draining, you have to do this job. Remember one thing: whenever you are going to clean the fork, just don't use petrol or any kind of a thinner or something, or spirit or something. Just better to use diesel, because diesel has got better detergents as an additive. So we'll just open up this one also. Don't forget to remove the axle pinching bolt from the fork, otherwise you won't get the access to remove this allen bolt from the top. A reciprocating way, clockwise counterclockwise, is the good practice sometimes, because thread lock is given to hold up that bolt. So while removing that, it may become very tight. So it is loose now. So the next procedure is that we'll remove this piston from the fork. I'm not going to show you how to fix up the fork on this bike, because this video is basically only for I have recorded only for how to change the fork seals from 41 mm. So this is the thread lock what I was thinking about. So my doubt was correct. I will just dismantle the fork assembly for replacement, new oil seal replacement. So this is the fork. Now you just have to remove this dust oil seal basically from the top, just by using one small screwdriver. Just be careful while removing this this oil seal. Your screwdriver should not damage the fork lip, otherwise you will have tough time while fitting the fork seal. So just remove the dust cap, then remove the lock. The lock is given basically to retain the fork oil seal inside only, because due to the motion, I mean the movement, up and down movement, there is a possibility that seal may come out of the bottom tube. So lock has to be there. Now this is the oil seal. Now to remove the oil seal, there is only one trick, and it's very simple. You just have to use a reverse pulling system or reverse hammer. So the fork tube or the inner tube itself is the hammer or the tool to remove the fork seal. So this is the seal. Remember, the chrome portion is very much important. The travel is very much important. It should not get scratched, otherwise the these forks will start leaking again. This is the washer, which helps out to remove the seal basically, and this is the thrust kind of a bush which maintains the gap in between bottom tube and the inner tube, because the diameter is little bit different, so it should not wiggle. That is the reason that this is given, and it has got a very soft material which will not eat your this plated inner tube. So now we are going to clean this. So as you can see, there is a collar which is given to settle down the sill. So that is kind of a seat basically. So use only diesel. We'll just clean up everything, and then we will start assembling the fork assembly. I'm just going to remove this fork dust seal as well. Little bit of gap you just need, and by hand you can remove this uh, dust seal very easily. Just be careful with the fork lip, fork mouth. As you can see, this is a little bit rusty. That means it has got a problem with the oil seal. I guess that seal never opened, or the fork never opened for the maintenance purpose. There is also one possibility that if you are using it in a rough terrain, then there is possibility of damaged oil seal. So it's a very normal thing. So remove the lock, clean everything. If you don't have diesel, then at least don't use petrol, but you can use plain cotton cloth. Rags is the best option. We'll just remove the fork oil seal by pulling out. That's it. Here we are done. Now we are going to clean everything, and we'll start assembling. Every time whenever you are removing the fork for any repairs, just be careful, because if you